So while everyone else out there is sharing their discussion on Empire of Storms, I just finished Queen of Shadows and I just really want to talk about how much I loved this book. This book is definitely my favorite from the series so far. Like, I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was paced so well, it held my attention so well, and I feel like the characters were just so much more than they had been in this book. Like, it was pretty much everything that I could have wanted. The plot was incredible and it was so fast paced, but that's really all that I can say without giving spoilers. So please scurry off and read Queen of Shadows if you haven't yet done so, because it is absolutely fantastic. So I did talk about Heir of Fire in a previous video and I mentioned it wasn't really my favorite. I knew that I was going to finish reading the series, but the book Heir of Fire didn't really do too much for me. I thought it kind of took a break in the whole series because Aelin went off to Wenblin and she was searching for her powers, and I just didn't really get into it. I didn't like Rowan at that time. Just overall, Heir of Fire wasn't a book that I really liked. So it took me a while to get to Queen of Shadows just because I wasn't so excited to jump back into this world. But Queen of Shadows blew me away completely. My favorite character addition was definitely Lysandra, if that's how you pronounce her name. I just love that Aelin gets another girl best friend. Wasn't the biggest fan of Nehemia, and I know it was devastating to Aelin when she died, but I loved the character of Lysandra so much more. Like, she was what I wanted for Aelin to have in a female best friend. Also, I think it's really funny that when Rowan came in, he just sits down across from Lysandra and is like, oh, you're a shapeshifter. Like, he just knew right away with looking at her what she was, which I think was so cool. There was something special about her because she is Aelin's best friend, and so she can't just be normal. I mean, obviously she has to have something up her sleeve. As for Rowan, I was not a fan of Rowan in the previous book that much, but I knew he was going to be a thing with Aelin. It was just very obvious, and honestly this book I did really like him. Like, I 100% came around to him, and it really didn't even take that long. Pretty much when Aelin saw him for the first time after a month, I was sold. Just the way that she greeted Rowan and how happy she was to see him just made me think, oh yeah, he's not the worst. I don't know if you can have more than one mate in a lifetime. I feel like you can't, but there's definitely something between Aelin and Rowan that is just not normal. And I'm actually okay with the fact that they didn't really get together in this book, because I know it's going to happen, or at least I'm really hoping it will. Something that I liked about Queen of Shadows that we didn't really see in the other books was that Aelin kept a lot to herself. She didn't really share with us all of her plans and all of her details. Like, we the reader found out all of these things as they were happening or after the fact, and Aelin was just so clever with the tricks that she pulled. And she did multiple things throughout this book that just kind of blew me away. Like, when she went to the bank and she was getting money, I thought, this is kind of weird that she goes to the bank so much, but I didn't think anything of it because there was so much other plot to focus on. And we find out that she had been changing Arobyn's will the whole time, or learning how to do that. And that's another thing, speaking of Arobyn, he kind of became the main villain in this book, and the king kind of took a back burner, which I wasn't expecting, because the first 3 books, it's like the king is so evil, blah blah blah, but we get to see a lot of Aelin's past and Arobyn and the role that he played, and that guy just gave me the creeps. He was something just else entirely. He was on a certain level of creepiness than the king, because they both have power, but Arobyn's power directly overshadowed Aelin in a way that was even more of a threat, I think, than the king, at least in this book. And when Arobyn slipped the ring on Aelin's finger, I actually freaked out. Like, I started screaming. I thought, there is no way our main character, who is so smart, would fall for this trap, and there's no way that she could be controlled by Arobyn. And I don't know what page we were on, but there were a couple hundred pages left to the book, and I thought, is the rest of the book just going to be Aelin being controlled by Arobyn? Like, this is not how I want this book to end. But thank goodness it was all a ruse. Arobyn ends up dead, and I'm glad that his story came to an end, because he was just too creepy for me to read much more of, honestly. I just wanted him to go away and never come back, which is what Lysandra did to him. The last 150 pages or so were the most wild ride ever. I absolutely loved the action and everything that happened in those final scenes. Every few minutes I feel like I had to put my book down and scream or flail or do something ridiculous, because this book was just getting so intense and so crazy, and it was like, we know that she's gonna live, but at what cost? Who is gonna suffer to get this king? I'm honestly surprised that they were able to knock down the clock tower. I really wanted them to, but I just thought, oh, that's gonna be so difficult. Something's gonna stop them. They're not gonna do it. And it almost didn't happen because of the wordhounds that attacked them. And their plan almost was completely destroyed because nothing went the way that they hoped it would, and they were getting betrayed at every angle. Did anyone see that the king had a demon inside of him? I don't know why it didn't occur to me. That was just a wild plot twist. And then with the thing with Dorian is that why was Manon the only one to bring Dorian back to himself? I mean, I know that the demon just hated the witch, so the demon retreated in that moment when they were in the field and Dorian was able to come through, but I think there also was something else about Manon that was just special, and I don't know why. And even in the final scene, Dorian is looking out his window and he sees her. Her name is kind of coming to him. He knows that he knows her, so there is something there. I don't know what in the world it is, but there's something really good there. And as for the witches and their backstory, when we hear about Asterin's history, first of all, the grandmother is absolutely horrible, and I love that the witches are like taking a stand that they're not these cold, hard, cruel monsters, and instead they've just been made that way. And I was just shocked to learn that Asterin actually had this love story, and she, well, had a baby, had all of these emotions that since then she's pretended that she doesn't feel, because witches don't love, they don't feel. But here's Asterin just loving Manon, she's loving the hunter, she's loving her baby, and the witches aren't really what they've been made out to be this whole time. And I love that. Like, I see the witch storyline going so many places, although there were plenty of times in the book where Manon's scene entered and I was not ready to let go of Aelin and what was going on with her side, so I was a little annoyed that I had to read about Manon at certain parts because I so much wanted to get back to the main storyline. But that being said, I still really like the storyline of the witches, especially as we get near the end and we see that there's going to be something so much more, and they're kind of starting their own rebellion in their own way, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Also, how is the Duke of Parrington the ultimate evil guy? Honestly, I have way more thoughts about Queen of Shadows, so please let me know your thoughts on this book, what stood out to you, because I'd love to discuss it in the comments, because this book has so much in it that cannot be discussed in a video. So please let me know what you thought in this book. Don't give any spoilers away for Empire of Storms, please, I beg of you, because I need to be reading that like next month and I don't want to be spoiled in any way. So thanks for watching and happy reading. What's his name? Lucron? I forgot his name already. It's not Lucian. I want to say the guy's name is Lucian, but that's not him. And then I want to say his name is Lupron, but that's a medication I give. Morgan?